Estamos en vivo, en directo, para que escuchen lo que están hablando.
That it's going to lead to censorship in our classrooms, which is entirely un-American. And so, for that reason, I do believe that we can have issues with restrictions of speech, of freedom of expression, that this will be stifled, and that we will eventually have repercussions because of that. Because we all know there are very many federal protections for these things. But now to the action items, the ones that we're talking about, recommend 3, for example, which it states that to, if necessary, initiate rulemaking to amend the policies where appropriate. Well, for recommend 3, just based on what I've been saying so far, this is what I have to make for the item, just a few questions, and then you let me know your thoughts, please. So under recommend 3, for example, my mother's from Colombia, my father was from Cuba, and under recommend 3, would I be able to have either the Cuban or the Colombian flag representing my identity either behind my desk or on my desk, or for example, if a teacher would like to wear her Israeli flag as a pin or as a photo of her flag in Israel over summer, would that be an issue? So furthermore, for our students, if they want to have a huge flag sewn on their book bags representing their identity, is that going to be a problem if we're talking about the actions in recommend 3?
Yo les quiero recordar a ustedes que ella es una de las miembros que fue la que trajo específicamente hace 2 meses en el School Board. Estaba de acuerdo con el mes completo de octubre del LGBTQ. So, ahora ella ya está hablando, a ver, vamos a ver cómo ella habla sobre la bandera.
And then, of course, you do mention that you would like only flags, quote, which we haven't even really defined, but flags only related to curriculum. Well, what about extracurricular activities? As myself, I was sponsoring 3 to 5 clubs a year in my classroom, and many of those did have posters related to them. And now, but you're saying curriculum, well, extracurricular, it still has something to do with what we do in the classroom and with our school community and our school culture and who we are. However, based on the recommend 3, now I can't have an Amnesty International poster because it's my extracurricular club, which I think would not be good, but that's just me. And then finally, as a teacher, we, of course, want all of our students to be college and career bound. So if I want to put the college I went to inspire my students about my journey as the product of Miami-Dade County here, if I want to represent basically where I went to college, like my flag colors for my schools, and inspire and have the kids aspire to something as great, would this now have to be restricted or removed? So as you can see, I have a lot still of unanswered questions, real big concerns just as an educator, and I would just love to hear from you what you think about the concerns I raised here. Thank you so much, Board Member Alonso and Madam Chair, for the opportunity.
Thank you. Board Member Alonso, sir.
Through the chair, I'd be happy to answer your questions, and I appreciate your enthusiasm as a classroom teacher. And I think one of the important things here that we should all be cognizant of is that this is not removing the teacher's ability to bring in flags that are related to the curriculum that he or she is teaching in the classroom. There's no restrictions whatsoever there, and I brought this up, we've talked about it. There will be Hispanic Heritage Month where we celebrate all of our Hispanic countries, and of course.
Yo les voy a ir explicando, pero primero tengo que escuchar porque esto está muy bueno. Él tuvo que interrumpir y contestarle a ella sobre lo que ella está informando, diciendo que ella está de acuerdo con la bandera, ¿ok? Pero que le están quitando las habilidades y autoridades a las maestras de hacer lo que ellas quisieran hacer en su salón. Y él dice, disculpen la interrupción, pero en ningún momento eso le está quitando ninguna autoridad. So, yo les voy a seguir explicando.
Go ahead, put the white hot heat poster up. Definitely not opposed to that, and I think that's great, as well as colleges. So University of Miami, whatever it may be, I'm not opposed to that when it is related to the curriculum and what is being taught in the school. This has to be educational related. Our kids are going through so much. We were just hearing earlier with Chairwoman Rojas' item, when we were talking about, yes, we show in the Florida standards that we're up here, but yet when we really got in, our kids are so far behind. And there's so many more things to be focusing on in our classrooms. And honestly, I wish this item would have never blown up to the level it was, because we do have a lot of other things to talk about, but we live in an environment where everything's become political now and creating divisions, and it's really sad, because this is not about creating divisions. It's quite the opposite. It's about creating a unity and neutrality inside of the classroom. I don't want students divided. I want students united, regardless of who they are, and let them express themselves. So to your earlier point, wear your pins, wear your book bags. Be proud of who you are. Be proud of your identity. And when we talk about bullying, I was bullied as a young child.
Qué bien, qué
I
bien.
was in 7th grade
Good.
because I was called fat boy. And I
Ujú.
would be pushed around.
Él está diciendo que cuando era niño, él hacían bullying, le decían gordo. Y él lo que hacía era que él se defendía, daba un golpe, lo que sea, pero no se traumatizaba por esas cosas.
The way that we remove bullying is by removing division and by creating inclusion where we're all one.
Que la única manera de retirar un bullying o
That's what identifies us, that we're all
es
Miamians.
parar la división, que es lo que están haciendo en estos momentos en las escuelas. Gracias por Roberto Alonso, que ganó del distrito de Hialeah.
Not a flag.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Follow up, if I may?
Lo aplaudo. Muy bien lo ha defendido.
Just to clarify that, just to answer my question specifically, with this, would I be able to put a flag, a Cuban and a Colombian flag on my desk, a straight up flag?
If it's based on the curriculum, yes.
No, sir, just based on my, through the chair, and based on my identity.
The board policy is currently through the chair.
Thanks.
Gotta get used to that. According to school board policy that is currently in place, you cannot display a flag that is not the American flag in your classroom.
De acuerdo completamente.
So I would remove my Colombian.
Yo después le digo.
From my desk, through the chair.
I'll refer to the attorney who maybe implement the law.
Dios mío, lo que esta gente se están parando. Menos mal que yo no estaba ahí presente, les digo honestamente. Ahora ya están preguntando, bueno, entonces si yo soy, por ejemplo, colombiana, entonces no puedo poner la bandera colombiana. Ahora está hablando el abogado a ver si puede poner la bandera colombiana o no. Pero señor, estamos en los Estados Unidos. Ni la bandera colombiana, ni la bandera venezolana, ni la bandera cubana.
Okay, thank you. Follow, Madam Chair. So then, could I put up a pennant flag of a sports team in my classroom through the chair?
Yes, through the chair.
Esta es la misma Lucía Baez Geller, Distrito 3, que es la que yo les digo a ustedes que ella es totalmente liberal, vamos a estar claros. Y ella está poniendo esa excusa de que no puedo poner entonces mi bandera colombiana o no puedo poner entonces mi bandera cubana. Ella lo que seguramente lo que quiere es decir las banderas de los otros tipos de comunidades, que no tienen que ver la de los países. Gracias a todos los que están conectados.
After school?
No, during the school day, related to a club that I have after school. Whether it's Boys and Girls Club or Miami-Dade on flags that theirs.
Through the chair, there may be some flags that may not meet the requirements, but
Ella se lo está tratando de comer a él es nuevo
the flags that you're mentioning seem
en el
to
puesto.
fall within the acceptable use of a display of flags during a school day. But there might be some others that might not meet that requirement.
And through the chair, are they allowed to display a flag on their person throughout the school day?
No, chica, no.
Yes, absolutely. Yes.
Thank you. And just to
They are flag on their person throughout the school.
And especially for saying that since everything that I have already stated, your own personal identity, on yours, the student personal identity, some extracurriculars and sports, since you're saying it seeks no change, so then I will continue then to see these to be allowed since our current policy allows these. Is that correct, Mr. Alonso?
Through the chair,
Through the
please.
chair.
Thank you.
Through the chair, I think the policy and the language is pretty clear that this is not eliminating the ability for any student to express anything about themselves on their clothing. Of course, they have to follow school rules. I know we have uniform rules.
Muy bien dicho.
We have rules.
No tiene nada que ver, dice. Bueno, yo después les voy a poner ahí a ustedes el subtítulo para que ustedes lo vean. Gracias, Becky, saludos.
Some discretion there, as well as board attorney as well as our region. So I'm sure they'll have discretion there and follow up on that. My item was specific on the flags being flown inside the classroom and what flags should be flown inside the classroom. It's not about what a child wears, what a student wears, what a teacher wears. Those are other roles that will be dealt with human capital.
Estamos hablando de simplemente poder poner la bandera de esta nación, de este país, en los salones y en las escuelas. Y mira a dónde ella se está yendo. Eso no tiene nada que ver como si cada estudiante quiere hacerlo o no quiere hacerlo, o lo quiere poner, si puede llevar sus banderas, sus colores. Nadie está hablando de identidad de personas.
And through the chair, just to rebuttal on that, I made it clear that this was not to limit anybody, and that's why human capital will be the ones that focus in on what our teachers could wear and could not wear, custodial, bus drivers, and so on. They'll deem what's appropriate for them to wear based on current policies.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Alonso. We have also signed up to speak, Dr. Steve on the third.
El que faltaba.
First and foremost, to the maker of the item, your first item, I want to commend you for the manner in which you presented the item.
El que faltaba. Steve Gallo, número 3, del Distrito 1.
And the,
Es el que está hablando.
clear spirit of empathy and understanding for some of the perceptions that this item may have rendered. I say that really from my heart because in some cases we have the proclivity to become defensive, and I have not sensed that in you whatsoever. We are guided by Robert Rules of Order. Chapter 2 says we cannot question the motives of our colleagues. I've had an opportunity to speak with you and get to have a sense of who you are and what you're committed to. While Robert says this, Dr. Pendros Bengal, Maya Angelou says, when people show you who they are, believe them the first time. And until they prove you otherwise, you take them at who they are. Through the chair, with respect to this item, just have a few comments, and I've had an opportunity to really listen to the speakers at length. I want to thank the speakers that came out in a very respectful, a very professional, and a very sensitive way. I really want to thank you for that. We've had some very tumultuous times over the past several years, and when speakers come on a very challenging issue and one that's potentially divisive, it's always refreshing to have you present your position in a very respectful way. That makes our jobs much easier. One nation, under God, indivisible,
Sí, señor.
liberty, and
Una
justice
nación bajo
for
Dios. Exactamente. Y la justicia con la libertad.
The Pledge of Allegiance is indivisible,
Ujú.
not to be divided. And I was writing notes down as my colleague
Muy bien dicho, mira, está hablando bien.
Alonzo was speaking and my colleague Bias Diller through the chair was speaking, and I heard a common theme of unity, solidarity, inclusion, not exclusion. So it's always good to know that we emphatically are committed to the tenets of this country, which was built on unity and indivisibility, that we will not be divided.
Correcto.
We've had some questions relative
No estamos
to
para estar
different
divididos,
types of flags
sino para más bien
and
para
really
estar
consider
unidos.
this nation and this country. Trees cannot be divorced from their roots. Trees cannot be divorced from their roots. Many of us arrived in this nation, our ancestors arrived here in different ways. Some of us, Dr. Bendros Bengal, were taken against our will. Some of us fled communism and oppression, and some legally left to find a better way. But one of the things that this nation has represented was a spirit of welcoming, a spirit of inclusion, and a spirit of opportunity. In fact, with Freedom Tower right down the street, that in the 1960s,
Yo no les quiero hablar por encima de lo que ellos están diciendo, porque al final yo voy a hacer de que les pongan todo lo que ellos están diciendo con un subtítulo en español. ¿Ok?
Board Member Alonzo talks about his parents who came here. I cannot imagine what that was like to leave your country as a child. And I can only imagine what a very dear friend of mine said to me, and she's no longer with me, that she had a symbol of what Cuba represented, and that was a flag. And she didn't grow up in Miami, unbeknownst to many. She grew up in Indiana, because back then I guess they transitioned different immigrants to different parts of the country. And she is, God bless her, she's deceased now, and I know a couple of people know who I'm speaking about, because I love her dearly and I miss her tremendously. Others came to this country and they were met by the Statue of Liberty. We know what that represents on Ellis Island, and we know what New York has become. You have Little China, Little Italy, you have all of these different places because people could not be divorced from their roots. A tree cannot be divorced from their roots. And unlike others, Bengal, when our ancestors were taken from Africa, we didn't come to one place. We traveled that middle passage. We were dropped off in islands like Haiti, Jamaica, Turks and Caicos, other different places along the way.
Fíjense de todas las cosas que ellos pueden estar mencionando y hablando, no tiene nada que ver con él decir que queremos hablar y poner la bandera de los Estados Unidos en cada salón y en cada escuela.
When the item was presented, recommend 1, recommend 2, Board Member Alonzo had me alone. I will always be grateful for the tremendous opportunity that this community and this country has given me, has given my children, and will afford my grandchildren. But I understand also some of the issues of perceived division, and to the extent that we can take a pathway that there are not winners and losers, because that's not who we should be. I believe that we as a community, we as a district, we as a school board, our leadership requires us to be better than that, to not have any winners or losers. And I think there are often pathways for us to do that. It's not an either or, it's a both and. I will say parenthetically, for those who don't know, I know we talked about celebrations throughout the month, but I would be remiss if I did not, Board Member Alonzo, say for the record that African American history, pursuant to state statute, is taught throughout the school year. So it should be integrated throughout the curriculum all year. So it's not a 1 month activity. Many people believe that the shortest month of the year represents the celebration of who we are, but that's not the case. And the questions that I've seen in my nearly 30 plus years as an educator, I have seen symbols in classrooms of people reflecting their heritage and their culture. I had a challenge swearing the parental Bill of Rights relative to the flag, and that's why I was a little hesitant on 3, but I think there can be a pathway that there's not an either or, there's a whole thing. I do, for the record, openly, I support provisions outlined in the parental Bill of Rights. I say as a board member, but I'm a parent. I am a parent. There are some things that I do support. But I also have an obligation as a policymaker, as each of us does, to be able to balance and swear. And the question was asked through the chair, and I don't think the answer was given as lucidly as it could be, relative to what staff and what the learning environment can reflect. So I would like to, as I contemplate a potential amendment to recommend 3, the policy through the chair, Mr. Harvey, is very explicit, and that's policy 2225. And I heard people citing it. I had my staff to bring it. Policy 2225 is multicultural programs. And it reads, in part, the school board serving a community reflecting many varied cultures and languages is committed to equity in education for all students and to providing, very important point, a learning environment that reflects the cultures, the traditions, the customs, and the historic legacies that comprise.
Es que puede reflejar la cultura, las costumbres de cada familia o de cada nación que representan los niños en las escuelas.
We have a policy position that will not restrict will not preclude, but does provide an opportunity, not for instruction, because the question that my colleague asked through the chair, Board Member Biasdella, was, what can a teacher do and what can be reflected in the classroom? So I think at the appropriate time, I would like to proffer an amendment to recommend 3 that incorporates policy 2225, multicultural education, that ensures federally protected flags can be visible as appropriate pursuant to our policy. And obviously there's some additional concerns that one would have. We heard some comments regarding litigation that happened in Duval County. I did research that very quickly, and this board cannot, not that we choose to, we cannot run afoul of anything that denies anyone their constitutional and federally protected rights. So, Madam Chair, those are my comments, and at the appropriate time, I would like to come back and frame a potential amendment for the Assembly to consider under recommended 3. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Gallen. Anybody else? Yes, Board Member Kalushi.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Yes. Through the chair, I just want to make a comment.
Ahora va a hablar Mónica Colucci, distrito 8, que es el distrito mío, la que fue elegida ahora en noviembre
We were
8.
having this discussion, something came to mind, and it was President Ronald Reagan in his last speech. And he said something that I feel is very fitting. If I can find where I jotted it down. But basically, it says, you can go to France, but you cannot become a Frenchman. You can go to Germany, or Turkey, or Japan, but you cannot become a German, a Turk, or Japanese. But anyone from any corner of the earth can come to live in America and become an American. And I think that that is what is behind this. I don't think it's something that is meant to divide. I respect
Muy bien dicho.
everyone's identity. I respect everyone's background, culture. I am a daughter of an immigrant myself who came to this country, and my mother was welcomed with open arms. And yes, as Dr. Galvin said, you cannot divorce the tree from its roots. But we have an American flag that unites us.
Así mismo
And let's
es.
use that and let it fly very high and very proud and unite all of us so that we are not divided, but we remember first and foremost that though we do have our roots, we are united in America and the promises that it has of the American dream. And that's all I wanted to say, Madam Chair.
Thank you very much, Board Member Alonso. I'm sorry, Kalushi. I'm going now to Board Member Navarro, Vice Chair, who would like to speak.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I was not at committee, even although I was listening, I was representing the board at Naveo. I do wholeheartedly support the item. I was born in a communist country of Cuba, and this great land gave me the opportunity to not only speak.
Muy bien lo que está también diciendo ella. Recuerden, no les estoy traduciendo porque voy a poner títulos, entonces ve muy feo si yo estoy hablando encima.
I do wholeheartedly also agree with Board Member Alonso. It's unfortunate because of many issues that we've seen in our community. Some of our schools have the flags that are either gone old or are not in proper condition. And we need to make sure that when we enter any building that is, especially a government building, that the first flag we see is the flag of the United States of America. A flag that we not only uphold a right hand to serve, not only us as individuals who are elected, but also all the men and women like my brother right now who's in active duty in the United States Coast Guard, to ensuring that he and others like him in our country and in our armed forces protect our freedom in this country for all of us that we take every day as part of when we wake up and be able to breathe and walk and have the freedom that we have. We can never forget that those men and women protect us, and that flag, no matter where they are, no matter whether you're at high sea like my brother, stopping in his law enforcement capacity, stopping drugs that are smuggled into the United States every day. He upholds our flag, and that is the flag that we, as Americans, look up to. So
Así
I want
mismo
to
es.
make sure that as children, as a child that was born in a communist country, where people there are still oppressed, like Board Member Alonso say, and do not have freedom of speech and are being up every day and are locked up in prison because they speak out against the government. They don't have that freedom to be able to say, wow, this is a flag that really provides us freedom. It is a flag right now in Cuba that finds them under an umbrella of oppression. And so we need to teach, make sure that our children know the value of our flag and that this
Enseñar
flag
a los niños el valor de la
is a
bandera,
umbrella
que significa la de los Estados Unidos, que es la libertad.
person that, like Marco Lucci says, comes into this country, no matter who you are, where you're coming from, what your religion is, what your beliefs are, what your faith is, what your culture is, and it doesn't matter where you were born. You are united when you step foot in the United States of America under one flag. And so I wholeheartedly support the item.
Gracias,
And I
Margarita.
understand and want to thank Board Member Alonso for clarifying some of the misinterpretations of the item. I'm very clear about what this item does, and Madam Chair, at the appropriate time, I would like to request to co-sponsor the item.
Thank you very much. Anyone else at this time? Yes, okay, so you have the floor. Board Member Santos.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'll keep it brief. I look forward to hearing, proposed
Ay, Dios mío.
Clearly, I'm in full support of recommend 1 and 2. I mentioned the committee, my fond memories of being a safety patrol.
Esta es Mrs. Luisa Santos, Distrito 9. También, no es de nuestro bando, vamos a estar claros.
Bring it down, fold it properly, store
Vamos a ver
it
qué dice hoy.
And so I'm in full support of recommend 1 and 2. I look forward to hearing the proposed amendment around recommend 3 because, we talk about, as is stated in our policy, the state of Florida motto. I also want to remind us of our wonderful country's national motto, E pluribus unum, out of many, one. And that is where our strength draws from. I hope that this proposed amendment around recommend 3 will provide clarity so that we may not find ourselves eventually in a situation where a veteran teacher who may want to display the pride they felt in defending our country by having, the Army flag maybe in their classroom because they were in the Army, may find themselves precluded from doing that because it's not explicitly in our curriculum. Or that we may prevent, a former NFL player who may be now in our classrooms from potentially displaying their sports team's flag. Or simply a fan, by the way.
Es que no puedes nunca comparar una bandera de un deporte, por Dios, o una bandera de otra cosa con la bandera de esta nación.
Also have, for example, as I looked at the record of our district across websites on our, police department's flag, we have an amazing picture of our police explorers. And there are the flags that each class makes at the end of their program that are prominently displayed. That is not explicitly, potentially, included in curriculum. And who is going to be the judge of that? So reserve my comments because I hope that there's proposed language that we can solve for so that we don't find ourselves in maybe the situations that I have just named. And look forward to hearing that language.
Thank you. Board Member Bendros-Menengo.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We'll be brief. I've listened very carefully to everything that has been said. A time back, I served as the chair
Distrito número 2, la doctora Dorothy Bendros
of the
Mendengo.
state of Florida. And when Dr. Allen made mention of the teaching of African American history throughout the year, I'm not too clear on that, and that's not what we're going to discuss right now. But I do want to be clear about that because it is important.
De acuerdo contigo, Margarita.
As I said, I want to put on record that the items, yes,
Margarita en una nota pone, ellos han tomado las escuelas como campo de batalla para sus agendas oscuras y al igual que ha sacado a Dios, tratan de sacar la bandera de Estados Unidos. Así neutralizarían o neutralizan su terreno.
have been open to emails and conversations and the like. But we're here, as my colleague said, Member Alonso, we are here to get it right for children. And I always say that what I do here, if it's not about children, I don't want to hear it. I know for sure that, I don't know for sure, I hope for sure that we're all looking at what we need to do to make it right for our children, again, as I said, who are watching. So I will go along with items, proposals 1 and 2, and I want to hear more about number 3. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you very much. Our student advisor, Ms. Pita.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Over the past couple of days and perhaps like the next following week, I have received no complaints over Recommend 1 and 2. I don't think that I would. I am also in full support of Recommend 1 and 2 as I was born in this country. I am proud to be American.
Yo quiero escuchar qué es lo que dice esta muchacha, porque esta es una muchacha nada más de escuela que las ponen ahí.
And I would just like to raise some concerns that were brought up to me through our students through Recommend 3. For the record, I know that this has been in discussion, but I would, through the chair, if I can, like to ask Mr. Alonso how this board item could potentially impact the expression of our students in the classroom, or if it does limit the expression of our students in the
Sí,
classroom.
acomoda, porque ella estuvo.
Yes.
Through the chair,
As
as I was discussing with board member Vice Geller, this is not to limit any particular student's expression of who they are.
Ella estaba preguntando que si eso eliminaría la expresión de cada estudiante. O sea, ya lavó el cerebro de la muchacha.
Express who you are. As long as there's guidelines within the school's uniform policy, and you're not violating your principal's uniform policy, this has nothing to do with that. This is particularly focused on the flags.
Nada, tiene que ver nada de eso.
inside of the classrooms.
Por Dios.
It has nothing to do with a particular person's expression and how they express themselves with a pen or their book bag.
Exactly.
But once again, I will refer back, this policy does not discuss anything as the uniform policy that may be enforced in your school or your principal.
Thank you so much. Follow up. As sometimes juniors and mostly seniors, many students in our schools take a class in American government and politics as part of their social science curriculum. How would this board policy impact that specific course? Or the expression of items in that course?
Through the chair. So it wouldn't impact it at all, because this is not impacting anything in what you were discussing within your classroom. That is up to the teacher's discretion within the content of what he or she is teaching you.
Creo que el estudiante debería estar cambiando las preguntas porque no tiene otro tipo de preguntas.
It goes back to the American flag being displayed in the classroom, what other flags are there within the classroom. It has nothing to do with the discussion. We welcome discussion. I think it's beautiful about what we do in our schools, and what we do here as a board is we want to have open discussion. We want to have open dialogue. We want to be accepting of each other and understand the differences amongst each other.
Thank you. Through the chair, sorry, another follow-up. I know that a board member already brought this up, but there was a concern of certain extracurricular activities, such as, for example, the Model United Nations Club, asking how perhaps this could impact the portrayal of the United Nations flag within their sponsor's classroom.
Through the chair. So there are guidelines for clubs. This is not going into what clubs can and cannot do. Clubs are extracurricular activities that occur after school. So if your club has a flag, that you guys flag during your club meeting and so on, this allows you that.
Y ella está preguntando por los clubs. Acuérdense que dentro de las escuelas hay clubs, que es donde están divididos los segmentos de personas, ¿no? Que ellos no pueden poner las banderas que ellos quieran poner. Eso no tiene nada que ver. Si tú perteneces a un club, tú perteneces a un club, pero no en el salón. Pero es que yo no sé lo que estos niños les han enseñado en las escuelas.
With regard to especially student clubs, and there's the Equal Access Act and other acts that apply federal law, as well as even when we receive federal grants, we agree to abide by the Equal Access Act And in that act, basically, student clubs have a great deal of freedom in forming and engaging in their activities. So this policy would not affect that.
Claro que no.
Through the chair, thank you so much to Mr. Alonso for his responses. I still have some additional concerns on recommend 3, but I will reserve my comments until after the proffered amendment has been spoken about. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ms. Vida.
And through the chair, I just want to once again compliment you. I know you were complimented so many, but you have great questions. You are a great representative of the students, so thank you so much for doing that and for really being aware of those extracurricular activities and so on. And know that in no way do I want to hurt or impact any of the activities which students are doing in schools. I think that's great. When I walk into schools, a lot of the board here, as well as folks that go visit the schools, I want more community. I want more involvement within our schools. So it's quite the opposite. In no way do I want to restrict you all from being able to congregate in the afternoons and make the school your home.
Me gusta mucho la presentación de Roberto Alonso. Me gusta cómo se expresa.
Sorry for stepping out a moment ago. I'm under the weather. I'm just trying to get through it. And I regret having to follow our student advisor with her poise and her eloquence. We all come to a particular item and receive the information through a particular lens. And the initial lens through which I reviewed this was, as I mentioned during committee, as a father whose children go to a dual curriculum school.
Si no me equivoco, creo que esta es la persona que en estos momentos está en el puesto vacante de Cristi Fraga. El señor se llama Daniel Espino, por el Distrito 5, hasta que se decida si ella gana o no gana, por cierto, las elecciones este fin de semana. Exactamente, Daniel Espino, así mismo es.
So I found this to be nothing more than a underscoring of the importance of the display of the American flag and prominently just tying in the display of flags to the curriculum. Of course, in large measure, people could perceive that as a way of being exclusionary, but I think it's actually highlighting and reinforcing that commitment to what we're doing in the classroom, which is this display of flag and tying curriculum. I myself applaud you for bringing it forward, and you have my support.
Thank you very much, Mr. Espino. And I would like to just very briefly thank the maker of the item, Board Member Alonso. The American flag is truly something that, as an immigrant myself, like others here, so much.
Ella es Mrs. Mari Terry Rojas, Distrito 6. Ella volvió a ganar.
Here today, having that discourse the way we are having at this moment in time, where we can express our thoughts, each one of us can address our concerns without fear of any violent actions being taken against us because we have freedom of speech. I thank Mr. Alonso, and as a matter of fact, my colleague on the right, Dr. Gallen, reminded me of when our family got here from Cuba, and we went to a very special place right here, downtown Miami. And guess what? We also got peanut butter and jelly sandwiches there. I'll never forget them. We ate that for months and months. And we thank everyone at the Freedom Tower who worked there, who welcomed us.
Está contando su historia porque vino de padre cubano, chiquitita, y se acuerda del building de la libertad que queda en el downtown de Miami. Estuvo varias semanas comiendo solamente sándwiches con peanut butter, mantequilla de maní.
And I am so pleased that we have had the discourse that we have been able to have here today in the respectful manner that it has been held. And I just want to remind everyone that the item that we have in front of us, the action that's being proposed in H7, is simply to review our existing relevant policies and state statutes, then develop and implement a process to monitor compliance if necessary. If necessary, initiate rulemaking to amend relevant policies and report on the implementation of these policies. We are not taking any action to deviate from anything at this point in time. We will wait for the report that will come back to us from the superintendent and his team. And at that time, we will have many opportunities to again discuss any future actions to be taken by this board. So I'm proud to have co-sponsored this item. I'm happy to have again heard the speakers that came and to, through your comments, have allowed the maker of the item to clarify areas that might have been misinterpreted by some. So,
están hablando hasta ahora muy bien todos, menos dos de ellas que no.
would like to say something. I know Dr. Gallen had proposed to make a friendly amendment earlier. And then at that point, we will take the vote. I think we have exhausted the conversation. We need to move this forward.
Ahora se va a hacer la votación.
Alonso, I'll give you the last word.
Just to reiterate what you said, Chairwoman Rojas, I thank everybody for this very, very fruitful discussion in which we were able to clarify many of the things that are on this item. I think sometimes we misconstrue things, and no offense towards the folks in the back, but the media loves to create some divide and drama sometimes.
Qué bueno. Que dice los medios de comunicación hacen a veces drama en ciertos temas.
Over 800 emails in support of this. 800 parents.
Escucharon, 800 emails recibieron ellos. Gloria a Dios. Yes.
In education. So I just want to reiterate that over 800 parents, and I received many calls from groups that wanted to come here and show their support, speak, and then sometimes create division. And I kindly asked them, this is not about that. This is not about dividing. This is about unifying.
Así mismo
So
es.
please, send in an email, show your support. If you want, come speak, but speak peacefully. And I hope that we can continue that in all of our board meetings, in which
Good.
we are here as one united body representing our students. So I thank you all once again, and I welcome further discussion from Dr. Gallen on any suggestions that you might have.
Thank you, Dr. Gallen, sir.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you, Mr. Alonso, for, again, your presentation and your acceptance, and for us having an opportunity and a pathway to make sure that everybody wins. My amendment is as follows. We have a lot of discussion to recommend 3, but it is, if deemed necessary, initiate rulemaking to amend relevant school board policies and procedures to afford instructional flexibility in the display of flags in the classroom where appropriate per curriculum, and in accordance with School Board Policy 5780, Parental Bill of Rights, and School Board Policy 2225, Multicultural Education, and ensuring federally protected flags and classes.
Ahora viene la votación. Vamos al grano, como digo yo. ¿Cuánto votamos? ¿Sí o no?
That's the recommended amendment.
Que segurito que Lucito, yo les voy a decir distrito
Any discussion?
9 y 3 van a decir que no.
Board member Lisa Santos.
Pero vamos a ver.
I think I missed some of that. Do you mind reading just the last part again through the chair?
Policy 2225, Multicultural Education, ensuring federally protected flags and classes may be visible as appropriate. Mr. Alonso mentioned that the administration will kind of navigate through some of those issues if it's not appropriate.
Que es no appropriate.
Board member Alonso.
Through the chair, I don't have a problem with it, but I do have a question for you, because I don't want to create any further confusion in our schools. And what do we consider a federal flag, a federal approved flag? Do we know of a actual list that is out there that our school board attorneys as well as administration can review?
Through the chair.
Yes, through the chair. As you indicated, Board Member Alonso, there's not a list, but I think federally protected would be federally protected. There's a provision in school law that talks about the reality that your constitutional rights do not stop at the schoolhouse door. And I think that is some of the challenges that we've seen in districts across the country. But again, if necessary, as the chair indicated, we may not even get to that particular point. But if there is an amendment proposed, it would have to meet the legal sufficiency, and it will have to ensure all federal protections that our attorney would not let come before this board and ask us to vote on a G item if it is out of compliance with federal regulations.
Through the chair, I don't have a problem with that, but I will ask our administration that when they do review this, that we are carefully reviewing our parents' Bill of Rights. The last thing I want to do, and I know our attorney will protect us from all that, is to be on the news because of something that we're doing that is not following the parents' Bill of Rights. So long as we are abiding to that and reviewing it, and I have the utmost trust and respect for our attorneys as well as for our superintendent and staff that they will review this, I don't have a problem with it.
Muy sabia su respuesta. Me gusta cómo se expresa.
Me
gusta.
To truly receive that through the chair, that is why that is there as well. So again, when I talk about it's not an either or, it's a both and, I was very clear about my support of that, so that provision is still stipulated in whatever action comes before this board. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Board Member Vice Chair Navarro.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I wholeheartedly agree with Board Member Alonso that I do, because I do understand the policy stated in item 3, which is the Parents' Bill of Rights, and I too wholeheartedly never want to be in a situation ever again to be cited for violating a state law. I always say that we have a responsibility. We may or may not agree with the law, but we have a responsibility to follow the law, and the law is the law. So that's a stance I've always taken, and that's a stance that I will always take on any item or any item that is before us. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Vice Chair. And now we have Dr. Pendros-Menigo.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and my seatmate just made it clear that we do trust our attorney, and we do trust our administration. Just the statement, not the statement, but maybe a phrase, and I need to ask a question, Madam Chair.
Yes.
Are we going down the right road, as my Vice Chair just stated? I don't want to be page 1 of the Herald for violating the Parents' Bill of Rights.
Ellos dicen que ellos no quieren salir, ellos siguen cuidadosamente las leyes o la guía de que tiene que ver con este artículo. Ellos no van a ni quieren salir en primera página del Miami Herald.
Yes, through the chair. You're referring to the proffered amendment?
Yes,
or, yes.
through the chair.
Yes, the proffered amendment does not create an issue.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. So at this time, the proffered amendment does not create any issues of concern for the board members, and we all are very grateful to have you, sir, guiding us as our general counsel. Board Member Alonso has stated that he is okay and he is in agreement with Dr. Gallen's recommendation. Then I believe that at this point, we are ready to hear a motion to approve the item as amended, because we are in agreement to make that amendment at this time.
Point of order, Madam Chair, we have to vote on the amendment. It was moved and seconded, and then we'll vote on the amendment. And then
Yes.
Va a venir la votación.
That was done a while ago. So we will go back. Let's first vote on the amendment, and then we're going to follow up on the amended action. Go ahead, I have a motion on the amendment. Second? All in favor? Aye. Thank you. Now I have co-sponsorships. I have a request from our Vice Chair to co-sponsor. Anyone else who would like to co-sponsor at this time? Okay, seeing no one else. Thank you. Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. All right, and now do I hear a motion to approve the item as amended?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We now proceed to our next item, which is H11, and that item is Board Member Monica Calucci's item, and it is the district compliance with Florida law. This is a good cause item. The floor is yours, ma'am.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Point of order, Madam Chair? Point of order, Madam Chair? Did you say we're moving on to item H11?
Yes, did we have another one before?
Yes, I believe we had, H10. I see Dr. Gallen signed up. I signed up, and I signed up for H9.
Let's see. Yes, correct. It did not on consent. Okay. H9 is our fall regional college.
Ok, ya teníamos que escuchar lo que tenemos que escuchar. Gracias a Dios, pasó. ¿Ok? So, fue apoyada la ley de el artículo H7. Les voy a decir algo ya para terminar, porque yo ni siquiera sabía que lo podía hacer, pero gracias a Dios me dieron la oportunidad. Me dieron el Alex que está ahí directo, me dio la oportunidad, me dio el link y lo hice y dije, bueno, vamos aunque sea a escuchar la votación. Me pareció muy bien todo lo que hablaron, sentí mucho respeto, me cayó sumamente bien el señor Roberto J. Alonso, del Distrito 4, que es Hialeah, se expresó muy bien, defendió las preguntas que le hicieron tipito bomba, o sea, así tipito pelotica que le tiraban, al igual que Mónica Colucci, Distrito 8, me encantó. Los otros, a pesar de que todo el mundo estuvo de acuerdo, ok, como siempre hay dos, la Mrs. Luisa Santos, Distrito 9, y Luisa Baez Geller, Distrito 3, fueron las únicas que, bueno, sí tuvieron sus preguntitas, y la muchacha que es la estudiante, que es lo que le dicen un advisor students, que era como, ok, para que ustedes puedan entender, en estos momentos en los salones pueden poner cualquier símbolo, podían poner cualquier bandera que no fuera la americana. Y señor, yo les voy a decir algo, vivimos en los Estados Unidos y debemos de tener la bandera americana puesta, ¿ok? Hay que enseñarle patriotismo a los niños, hay que enseñar, valorar y respetar y amar esa bandera. Porque esa bandera representa libertad, representa freedom, representa hombres y mujeres que defienden este país en otros países, ¿ok? Que han dado su vida por esta gran nación, para que aquí en las escuelas se permita cualquier tipo de bandera y no la nuestra. Y digo la nuestra porque yo la considero mía también. Entonces, todo el mundo estaba de acuerdo, pero vieron las pelotitas que tiraron como... Entonces no iba a haber expresión para los estudiantes. Entonces, como la muchacha de advisor, ahí la tienen, ella está hablando, mire, ella habla, es un advisor student, que la veo que con bastante autoridad, ¿no? Porque la permiten estar ahí, ella pregunta y todo. Y una de las cosas que ella estaba mencionando, por ejemplo, eran los clubs. En la escuela hay clubs. Está el club de LGTB, está el club de, yo qué sé, de mujeres, de feminismo, hay club de otras cosas, hay club de comunismo, hay club de socialistas, hay de todo. Entonces estaba mencionando como de que entonces ellos no se podían expresar y me encantó como él le contestó el miembro Roberto Alonso, porque él dice, eso no tiene nada que ver con las clases, eso no tiene nada que ver con los salones. Cuando ellos se reúnen en sus clubs, ellos pueden poner la bandera que ellos quieran y ellos pueden decir lo que ellos quieran. No tiene nada que ver con el salón como la escuela como tal, lo cual me encantó mucho. También varios hablaron sobre, tanto como Colucci y Mariteres Rojas, que dijeron que habían venido de padres cubanos, igual que Roberto Alonso, padres cubanos, y que habían venido de una, igual que lo dijo Luby Navarro, que habían venido de un país comunista, el cual esas banderas no representaban libertad ni freedom, sino representaban un régimen, opresión y toda esa serie de cosas. Hablaron muy bien, realmente me gustó, todos hablaron bien. Hasta Dorothy habló muy bien. Y Alonso dijo algo muy importante y muy interesante, basta de la división, ¿ok? Porque nosotros tenemos que, por eso se llama Estados Unidos, unirnos todos. Y habló sobre el bullying, y él dijo que cuando él era pequeño, pues él era gordito y le hacían bullying. Óyeme, señores, yo me recuerdo en Venezuela, a todo el mundo le hacían bullying. El bullying ha existido toda una vida, el bullying no es nuevo, solo la palabra bullying aquí. pero por lo menos en Venezuela, que se metían contigo, pues que se burlaban de ti. Bullying es burla, ¿no? Y él dice que le decían gordito y él lo que hacía era que él mismo se defendía, pues daba un golpe o le decía 4 cosas al muchachito, pero no está traumatizado. Y mira quién es hoy, y él es parte en estos momentos elegido por el Distrito 4 de Hialeah. Felicito a Hialeah porque lo prefiero 1000 veces a él que la persona que estuvo por 30 años en ese asiento. Vamos a estar claros, que me dormía cada vez que hablaba y la presentaba. Ya es el tiempo. Me gustó mucho cómo él se expresó, me gustó mucho cómo él habló, me gustó mucho todo lo que vi. Así que ellos siguen, como ustedes verán, todos los meses el School Board tiene reuniones de diferentes puntos. Los demás puntos no sé cuáles eran, pasaron para el H11, que no lo conozco, espero después pues empaparnos a ver qué más. Pero bueno, la buena noticia es que gracias a Dios recibieron 800 emails en apoyo sobre la póliza de la bandera. Me imagino que habrán recibido también otros más, menos que no apoyo, pero él se expresó que recibieron 800 emails y que estaban, y que todavía, si podían seguir, los que quisieran seguir escribiendo, podían seguir mandando, porque ellos quieren documentar todo esto. Al igual que le hicieron preguntas ahí, que verificaban que si esto iba en contra de los padres, que si los padres no sabían todo, o sea, todas las vueltas que esta otra gente le da. Y ellos le contestaron muy bien. Le contestaron diciéndole que ellos respetaban y verificarían todo lo que era sobre esta póliza, sobre este artículo, porque ellos sí seguían cuidadosamente la ley, y lo menos que ellos querían salir como miembro del School Board de Miami-Dade County era en las primeras páginas de Miami Herald, diciendo, imagínate que ellos están incumpliendo o yendo contra la ley. Yo no creo que haya, y si habrá muy poquitos padres que se hayan opuesto, porque vivimos en los Estados Unidos, estudiamos en los Estados Unidos, los niños están en una escuela de Estados, vayan a cualquier país, y en cualquier escuela de cualquier país está la bandera de ese país, no la bandera de los clubs, está la bandera en los salones, le enseñan a amar a esa bandera sin discriminación de que tú hayas venido de otro país. Venezuela vino muchísimo inmigrante español e italiano, ¿ok? Y como yo les dije esta mañana en el programa del mediodía, yo estudiaba en un colegio que era ítalo-venezolano, o sea, venezolano-italiano o italiano-venezolano. Primero era la bandera y el himno de Venezuela, después era la bandera y el himno de Italia, ¿ok? Pero la bandera estaban las dos. Ahí no había más bandera. Hoy por hoy no están las banderas, lo que están son informaciones de comunismo, de socialismo, de cosas de política, de aborto, de LGBT, de la cultura woke. Eso es lo que hay. Eso es lo que hay. Y eso está muy bien que pongan en la bandera de los Estados Unidos. Y punto. ¿Y quién se puede poner? Vamos a ver qué dice aquí. Claro que sí. Vamos a poner aquí lo que Gladys escribió. Mi amiga Gladys Fuentes, tan bella, dice, yo estudié en este país y en mis aulas se veía la bandera americana. Es verdad, yo lo dije. Yo estudié en 1972 un año, que no viví aquí, pero vine a estudiar un año aquí a Washington, D.C., y era la bandera de los Estados Unidos, en la escuela y en cada salón. Y yo nunca me recuerdo ningún símbolo satánico, ningún símbolo raro, ninguna bandera de otra cosa, nada de eso. Ahora, yo considero, como lo hacen aquí, que el mes de octubre es el mes de la hispanidad y vienen, vamos a poner todas las banderas de donde son mis padres, de donde son tus padres. Yo no considero eso malo, pero esas no son las banderas de este país. Si no, entonces estamos confundidos, entonces fuéramos que todos los países son todos los países. No, no es así. Y ella dice, pero en este país se tiene que volver a enseñar el patriotismo a nuestros niños y amar al país que viven. Claro que sí. Escuchen el programa si no lo escucharon del mediodía, porque esto era nada más por la votación y ya pasó la votación. Lo que yo les dije. Se tiene que amar este país y se le tiene que enseñar a ellos la bandera de este país y que ellos se sientan orgullosos de ser ciudadanos americanos porque nacieron aquí o porque vinieron chiquititos acá, lo que sea, que se sientan orgullosos de estar aquí. En casa, nosotros les enseñaremos nuestras costumbres, nuestras ideologías, si tú quieres, nuestras formas de pensar, le enseñas la bandera del país donde viene su papá y su mamá. Todas esas cosas son preciosas, conservar las raíces, pero en tu casa, porque en la escuela, en Estados Unidos, ¿ok? Pero bueno, amigos, felicidades a todos porque realmente, como dice ahí, 800 emails recibieron hoy en apoyo a este artículo. Nos movimos los patriotas, amigos, nos movimos los patriotas. Cuando nos unimos somos más fuertes, cuando nos unimos somos más fuertes. Así que tremenda buena noticia, me despido, los quiero mucho y pasó, hay apoyo. Regresa la bandera americana a los salones como tiene que ser. ¿Ok? Muchísimas gracias a todos los que están acá. Por favor, compartan esta información porque es muy buena noticia y muy, pero muy buena información. Vamos a ver si yo poniendo aquí al final, vamos a poner esto que está acá. Por lo menos para que el que vea diga, pasó. Pasó. La ley o el artículo H7. ¿Ok? So, ganamos. Y les voy a decir una cosa, ganamos unánimemente. No hubo nadie que dijo que no. No pudieron. Tuvieron que quedar callado la boca porque todas las preguntas que hicieron, Mr. Roberto Alonso las contestó y las contestó muy bien. Me gustó su forma, vino como de unidad, de respeto. Me encantó, honestamente. Así que los quiero mucho, Dios los bendiga y Dios está en control. Por eso en la oración hay poder. Si tú no mandaste el email, entra a mi programa del mediodía y manda el email, porque realmente debería de ser mucho más email. Pero qué bueno que hoy mismo, de anoche para hoy, hubieron 800 emails, porque todo el mundo yo compartí este email a todo el mundo y sé que esas personas tenían más gente, así que fue como una red de emails. Así que los quiero mucho, Dios me los bendiga y